Hello. So today we're going to be looking at something that thankfully we don't have to do too much at Orchestra, which is fixing broken pipelines. And today we're going to be doing it using Claude Code and the Orchestra MCP. Now obviously there's many different variants of this, so this is just an example, but you could take this away and tailor it to however your setup works, how your pipelines work, and add your own spin on it. So first of all, what are the prerequisites to this? Well, on the left hand side is the Orchestra MCP server with full instructions on how to set this up, including how to get your Orchestra API key, how to install it and run it locally. Though you could also just give this to your agent and ask them to do it. You can see on the right hand side here I've got Claude Code, and I've actually pre-built an instruction in this for Claude Code to spin up the MCP for us so that we don't have to walk through that bit. But it's there if you need it. And if you need your Orchestra API key to authenticate to that, it's under Settings, Workspace, and then just down here at the bottom. So let's take a look at our problem child in this scenario. We have a ELT pipeline, 5-tran, DBT, and light dash, fairly standard, and DBT has failed, which, looking into the logs, we can see that a test has failed. We've got 57 results, whereas we're expecting 0, and that's halted our pipeline in its tracks. So if you think about what you would usually do in this scenario at 9 o'clock in the morning when somebody's messaging you for 2 seconds asking when this will be fixed, is you'd probably look at the logs and understand what the error is. From there, you would either go to your warehouse and start querying the failing rows to understand them a bit further, or perhaps you already know what the fix for this should be. It was a code change you made a few days ago, or it's a badly specified bit of SQL somewhere. You could just go straight to the repo and start editing it. But what are we going to instruct Claude to do? Well, in order to instruct Claude, we need to produce skills. So let's take a quick look at the skill we're going to use to fix this pipeline. Now, a skill really is just a structured markdown file that you can give to something like Claude to help it understand what you're trying to do without reinventing the wheel every time. So this is just an example, but I've created a skill called Fix Orchestra Pipeline with a fairly lengthy description of when to use it and how to use it. And you can see in this file, there's a whole bunch of information about what I would do when I'm trying to fix an orchestra pipeline. And it's even reading out to another set of files called references on the left-hand side, which are for more bespoke parts of fixing a pipeline. So the MCP setup one I mentioned earlier, we've got some diagnosis patterns that are fairly common to our pipelines, as well as remediation playbooks on that. It's not cheating, it doesn't know exactly how to fix the next thing, it's just some templates. And we even have a knowledge store. So in this case, each time I finish fixing a pipeline, I've asked Claude to kind of log that somewhere in a structured way so that if the same errors keep appearing, it already knows how to fix them. If we actually collapse this file down a little bit, there's really not that much it's going to try to do. So there's an optional part of this that says I could pass it the failing pipelines link. Otherwise, it's just going to start searching my account to find failures. Then going to look through the failed task runs, start looking for logs and fetching the diagnostics for that, diagnose the error, come up with a fix, pull request it, and then finally I've actually asked it to retry the pipeline and monitor it to make sure that its fix has worked. Now, quite a lot of these require calling out to different parts of Orchestra, and to do that I've given this skill access to a lot of tools in the Orchestra MCP so that it can use them to do things like getting logs, updating pipelines, rerunning them, bits like that. So how does that actually look in Claude? Well, for those of you who haven't used Claude Code before, it's through things called slash commands. So /fix Orchestra pipeline, and I have the option to then pass in my failing run URL, which I'm going to do just to make it a little quicker. So you can see I've just got fix Orchestra pipeline and then a link to the run. I'm just going to let Claude go at it, use the skill to try and fix this pipeline. And after some time, we can see that Claude has actually produced a nice summary of the issue for us. So it's found that DBT core task has failed, 57 violating rows, and it's given a little summary of like what it's found out. So things like there was a failure in the DBT test, there was also a run previously on this pipeline that passed. So this tells Claude that perhaps it's a code change that has caused this. And you can see a bunch of other comments where it actually kind of already knows that it's me messing with it. But let's see how it then deals with that a bit later. So it gets down here, finds the code change to make, makes it, then opens a pull request that it wants us to go and look at. And here we are. We have the full pull request. We also have a nice summary from Claude on why it wants to fix this. And if I just click merge, hopefully it will then see this and try and rerun the pipeline to ensure that this fix has worked. And there we go. It's seen the PR has merged, and it will now be running the Orchestra pipeline. So if I jump into the latest runs, I should see this new one that Claude has spun up for me. Cool. So we'll give it a minute, and fingers crossed, all should be well. And there we go. The pipeline has passed this time. No more failing tests, and all without us having to really do too much. Now, obviously we did have to actually go to Claude Code and ask it to fix this pipeline, but that same set of skills could be moved into an automation somewhere, included in the pipeline itself, or just put somewhere that somebody can execute when something breaks. Obviously, there is also the option to do things like agents and have them autonomously do this, rather than having skills and slash commands. But how you architect and deploy this is up to you. The key to this is designing those skills and giving them as much knowledge as you can about how your pipelines work and how you would go about fixing them. So go away, design your own skills, give it a go, and see how far you get with fixing your pipelines. But it should save you a fair bit of time. So thanks and cheers.